Hey there, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to my AuthorTube channel. Today is going to be a writing vlog where I am going to be rushing to get all of the prep that I want to get done before I start writing my novel. So it is August 1st. My goal is to start writing on August 4th. I have done quite a bit of work in it. I haven't really outlined yet, like the scenes. I know the general overall structure of the story, but I haven't kind of mapped out what the scenes are going to be. So I'm going to do that. I also haven't figured out who the supporting cast is, and I haven't decided on the narrative device and point of view. Can I decide all of these things in the next 3 days? I don't know, but I'm gonna try. So let's dive right into it. Come along as I rush to figure out and do all this work to prep my project musical. Okay, so it is Sunday, August 2nd, and today was my narrative device day for Project Musical. I did not spend a ton of time working on writing today, gonna be honest, because I had a very fun, busy social distance night last night, and so I woke up rather late and rather sleepy, if you know what I mean. So it was not that good, but I think I have come to a conclusion on my narrative device. I will put links to the StoryGrid articles that I was reading to prepare for this down below. Basically, when they're talking about narrative device, they're talking about like who is telling the story, when and why, and then the point of view is how that is delivered. So like first person, third person, close, omniscient, etc. I feel like literally everybody, when they say those things, means slightly different things. So these articles from the StoryGrid are their vernacular, and I found them very helpful. So my initial idea for this story, to give a little bit of backstory, was it was going to be completely through like texts and emails and notes. If you've heard of the series TTYL by Lauren Miracle, when I was a teenager, and also I've read it recently because it's YA and I like it, that is entirely through instant messaging. Meg Cabot had a really good book called The Boy is Back, I believe, and it was through emails and Facebook posts and messages and stuff like that. And so that was my initial idea for this story, was I was going to tell it completely in text messages with, it's about a girl who's directing a play, Charlotte, and so it would have like Char's director's notes and stuff like that. And then I just got kind of concerned about that, in the fact that I don't know if I'm a good enough writer yet to go experimenting that crazy with my narrative device that we are not even doing normal description. Especially when it comes to plot and stuff, I feel like I've sort of gotten kind of the hang, as much as anyone can get the hang of anything in writing because it's all subjective, of showing character change and action and pacing through normal description and writing, like third person, first person, whatever. So I was a little nervous to go to no traditional description at all. I also started really loving my character Char, and especially the character inspiration that I have for her. She's like a combination of like Kristen Stewart, Mo from Trinkets, what's her name? Maeve from Sex Education, like a combination of those together in my head, plus a little bit of myself, obviously, because your characters always have a little bit of you in you, and yeah. So I've got really excited about her, and I really want to see in her head, and I'm so excited. So I didn't want to be that far away from her where we never really get access to her thoughts. So I was reading today, and in the Narrative Drive article, I think it's Leslie Watts who wrote it, she was talking a lot about Bridget Jones's diary and how the whole book was her journaling. And I recalled the Princess Diary series by Meg Cabot, which I adore, and that's all Mia's diary. And there's another book, The Fashion Committee and The Truth Commission, that are all kind of like very unique narrative devices. Those two books are by the same author, a Canadian author. I can't remember her name, I'll put it below. But I love those books. They're all YA. And so I thought that is a really good combination of like traditional description with the texty type thing I was thinking of. So I've decided my narrative device is going to be solely epistolary diary entries with some like insertions of text conversations and such as needed. I didn't just make this decision though. I drafted a little bit. So when I first came up with the story idea back in like December, I wrote 2 pages or so of emails going back and forth, and they're really rough. It takes a while to get into the voice of the character, I feel, but some parts of them are funny. And I read it and I was like, okay, this isn't quite it. So I wrote the opening of my book, like the opening little bit and an opening scene that I knew of, as if it was a diary entry. And I'm really liking it. I'm really liking that narrative device, and it makes a lot of sense to me as this is that Char would be writing this. And then I can incorporate my ideas of having little snippets of like her proposal for the play and her notes from rehearsals and auditions, which are going to be super funny. It's just kind of her notebook, so it's going to be this goulash of stuff. So I have accomplished my goal for today of deciding on the narrative device. I have a few plans going forward. I think I need to revisit Meg Cabot a little bit. I need to revisit those fashion committee books a little bit as well. And I need to see if I have, maybe order like Bridget Jones's Diary. I just need different examples of this kind of epistolary YA story. Not that Bridget Jones is YA, but whatever, in my head, because I know I'm going to be channeling Meg Cabot a lot and Princess Mia from those books, and my character is not Mia. So I just have to make sure that I'm getting the voice right and not kind of just copycatting. There's not really copycatting in the arts because it's a very different story. You know what I mean though. Not just like parroting that voice, but making sure it's a voice that's unique to this character and just revisiting different ways to do it. There are definitely some problems with this device in that by design, everything kind of happens later. So the character is writing about the scene just after they've experienced it. But I know that all of these authors have done some pretty interesting and creative methods and techniques to get around the problem, like writing in the bathroom or in the car or whatever it is. So I'm excited to experiment with that. I think it's going to be good. I think it's the best way to tell the story. So yay, now all I have to do is come up with a cast of supporting characters tomorrow. Yay. If you were wondering also, tomorrow in Canada is a holiday. It's the civic holiday, which is the holiday that means people wanted a long weekend in August. That is the purpose of this holiday. So I have tomorrow to make my supporting cast and at least work a little bit on that so I have a starting point. And then Tuesday we start the drafting for real. Yeah. When I was working on 1837, the last like book that I drafted, I moved into a little bit of a plant sing type feel where I would put in the milestones, and then every time I got to a new milestone, I would detail, outline until the next one, because the story kind of changes in between the milestones. So bearing that in mind and how that really worked for me, I have done the following for this story. So I am using the story grid method of the 5 commandments for every act to plot it out. I use 4 acts where I have an inciting incident, progressive complication, crisis, climax, resolution, cycle. That's like 1 act. So what I did was I sat down and I made my beginning hook, middle build 1, middle build 2, and ending payoff. And I just wrote down those core 5 things. The beginning hook, I think I know what that's going to be. I know what is going to be there. It's pretty straightforward, I think. And then middle build 1 is also pretty good. The only thing is the crisis in this. The crisis is when there's like a major decision that kind of shapes the act. My protagonist doesn't actually have the crisis. It's someone else, but it very much affects my protagonist. And I don't know if that's okay according to story structure, but I'm gonna go with it. But this is only like 5 scenes per each act. Obviously there's more than that. In fact, if you do the math and estimate 80,000 words divided by like 1,500 words for each scene on average, divided by 4, it gave me about 13 scenes per act. So this has 5 and I needed to come up with a whole bunch more. What I did was I took these sticky Post-it notes that I have from Hogan Lavelle's, which is the law office that we visited for my master's a little while ago. They had sticky notes for free. Woo, fun. and I wrote all the scenes I was thinking of in the beginning hook on them. Oh God. And then I pasted them on here. So this is just a folder that I have taped to a different folder. This probably would have been more effective if I went out and grabbed myself some poster board. But who needs poster board when you have old folders, right? So I wrote what the scenes are on top, and then on the bottom I put down like what elements they are, and I'm using both the Anatomy of Story and Story Grid. So I put Anatomy of Story tags as well as Story Grid. So like the story world, then we have weakness, need, and ally, then we have the fake ally opponent, then we have the inciting incident of the beginning hook. So these three were Anatomy of Story things. This is a Story Grid. Then we have the Meet the Mentor scene. That's a convention for the performance and status genre. I think the mentor is going to be a teacher, but I haven't quite figured out who she is yet because I haven't done my performing character work yet. We then have what I'm calling the aftermath of the inciting incident, and that is both the opponent in the Anatomy of Story structure language and the progressive complication of the beginning hook. So altogether I have 11 scenes. One of them fell off, and then this is a blank one because I feel like I need something else. I'm just not sure exactly what it would be. I have a few like story threads going through the story, but most of them are supposed to be kind of surprising type things, so I can hint at them in other scenes, but I can't really construct a whole scene around hinting that something is happening with one of the characters. I'm really liking this layout. I like being able to see everything right in front of me, and I like it better than a notebook page because you can't move stuff around as easily in a notebook page. So this, I think, might become a new normal for me for just using the sticky notes to outline everything. And if at some point I could get these to actually stay on, I can use the front and back side of this, and then I have like 4 quadrants for each of my acts. Ah, so cool. I'm very excited. Okay, that's the outlining done. That's all the outline that I need to do. I've realized that once I start writing it, things start changing, so it's kind of a waste of time for me to try to do that for the entire story when I know the story's gonna change. Okay, so it is Monday night. As you can see, I'm all very cozy down here. And okay, so I kind of knew that I wasn't going to come up with all the details for a miraculous, engaging, memorable cast of characters today. But what I did do was start planning out who I needed, and I gave them temporary, for now, kind of names that will allow me to write my story and then build in the details and do more explorations as I write my first draft. So there's some stuff to discover. Basically, I keep holding up these cards. So what I did was I put a role that I need on I cut out a bunch of construction paper into little squares, and then I put the role that I needed a character to fill on top. So this says history teacher. I have another one that's like Charlotte's brother. I have another one that's like the person who played Antony and Cleopatra. And then I have their name. And then on the back, this one is empty. Okay, here we go. Here's a better one. So Charlotte's brother is up here. It's actually brother number 1, the oldest brother. And then we have the name, we have role, so student. We have some like appearance information, and then on the back end side it's personality, backstory, and like a little inspiration for who to think of when I'm thinking of this character. So I color coded. Her family is all in yellow. Teachers and non-related adults are all in white. And then other students are all in orange. So I think I got some good stuff. It's not perfect. Like Miss Finley, the history teacher, has nothing. So Miss Phillips is the advisor for the directing competition that Charlotte is entering in. Her object of desire is to win this directing competition. So Miss Phillips is the faculty advisor for that. And originally she was going to be my mentor, And then I changed my mind and I thought it might work better if she was, it would make it harder for Charlotte as well if she was more of a threshold guardian. There's apparently one of the conventions of the performance genre is that the mentor is kind of like a morally, not like a morally ambiguous, like someone who's kind of lost their moral compass, or someone who could use a bit of a redemption plot. So instead I introduced Mr. Matty, who's going to be Char's acting, advanced techniques and acting teacher. They go to an art school, and he's going to be the mentor, and he's going to have an interesting story that I am working on. I just am not put it down yet because I don't want it to be super, he was washed up and then he did bad and so he went to teach. You know what I mean? I don't want that cliche to be in it. I want it to be something different. He's still going to be kind of a cautionary tale about why you shouldn't sell out and why you should be authentic and kind to others, like a little bit of a foil to her situation, kind of, but just not in that way. I have to keep brainstorming different ideas for that to work. And then we have Mrs. Phillips. She's gonna have the Herald and Threshold Guardian role, which makes a lot of sense. So the Herald is someone who, it's like, oh, wrong card. Okay. The Herald is the person like Gandalf in The Hobbit who comes and is like, you're coming on an adventure. And then Threshold Guardian, it's like they keep people from crossing the threshold into this extraordinary world. So Mrs. Phillips is going to be both of those, both the Herald and the Threshold Guardian. And I have to figure out how I want to make her so she is interesting and effective and stuff like that. But the teachers, yeah, I haven't gotten too much done on the teachers. The parents, I think I have some good stuff on the family. I kind of, when I was writing a bunch of stuff in Char's voice about her ghost, I kind of worked out the two personalities of her brother. She has like a really outgoing older brother who she's very close with and who doesn't take things very seriously, but he's a really good guy. He's really smart. He organized the grade 12 prank his year. He's just like that all around, like nice but outgoing, funny, like kind of towing the line. Think Fred Weasley. And then she has her quieter brother number 2, aka now Arthur Abergavenny, and he is a lot quieter. He's not super affectionate. He's close to the mom, and she doesn't have a great relationship with him, and he's gonna have to have more backstory at some point. But like, hey, I have the starting point. And then I have the parents, the dad. I don't know too much about the dad yet, just that he's a professor that specializes in the Saxons. And then the mom is a professor of evolution and conservation, and she's like short and spunky, and she has blonde hair, and she wears lots of like khakis and safari hats because she specializes in marshes. So she's gonna have like a bunch of graduate students over at their house putting on rain boots and getting ready to go to the Humber marshland, which is just outside of Toronto. So I'm excited for that. I like her. Like, I know that character so well. This character is gonna be a bit different. Like, I have some more work to do there, but they're nice starting points. And then, yeah, I have the students, and there's a lot of students. So some of them I do have stuff for. I spent some time brainstorming like different kinds of characters that you'd find in an art school. And then I put my cards kind of on the ground, and I said, okay, which of these ideas are good and who would do best here or there. I tried not to stick to like super cliche ones. So for example, I originally had a character and his tagline was like, he's Broadway or bust, dedicated and opinionated, always talks about like going to Broadway and his resume and all this stuff. And then I was like, you know what? Not Broadway. It's going to be Stratford Festival, which is a Shakespeare festival in Toronto, or outside of Toronto, in Stratford. He's going to be Stratford Festival or bust, and like really into method acting. I don't know. We'll see, but also into sports. So that we could have that one overdramatic kid who sings all the time, and I turned it into 2 girls who are friends who sing all the time and play Charmian and Iris, which are Cleopatra's maids, helpers in Antony and Cleopatra. And I have like fun roles for them. I'm excited. I'm really excited about Reggie, who is, oh no, this is Eric, sorry. Eric is a know-it-all. I'm really excited about Reggie, who is the lazy stoner kid. He's good when he tries, but not always, and she's gonna realize that he's stoned in a lot of her rehearsals, and that's gonna cause some problems. And it just goes on, and I'm getting excited for like the characters that I came up with. I know that they're gonna evolve, but I think it's a good start. And tomorrow I am drafting. So what we are going to do now is I am going to set my goal for August, and then, or I'm gonna do 40,000 words by the end of August, so I'm gonna go set my NaNoWriMo goal right now. So thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your August goals. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know how you do these things and what kind of outlining you do before starting a project. This has been a 2-month ordeal to get ready to start it, and I do feel raring and kind of excited to go. I think this has been a really good mixture of plotting and planting. Even though I've plotted for a really long time, it gave me a lot of time to think about it and ruminate about it. Anyways, good luck on your August goals. Let me know what they are below. Let me know how you prepare to start your stories, and I will see you next time.